Hey everyone, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. Today is episode 119 of the brand new Coffee and Comic Show, and as you can see, I'm not alone. I got my good friend Bob here with me. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm tired, buddy.
You tired?
I just got done driving 5 hours straight to get here, so...
Nobody wants to hear excuses, Bob. We're here
Let's do this!
We're here to answer questions. Today is the Q&A video. We're just answering hundreds and hundreds of questions that were asked. And step up to the plate or step out. Okay, no.
I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
But anyway, we always start with the coffee we're drinking. And as always, Mocha Express is the official coffee shop. But today is a little different because, as you guys know, I bought myself an espresso machine. And I wanted to make my buddy Bob a coffee today. And Bob, how's your coffee that's homemade from my kitchen?
It's got a caramel flavor to
There
it.
you go.
It's foamy.
You like that foam?
It is really tasty, dude.
There you go.
This is really good, y'all.
There you go. Those espresso machines are awesome.
They are.
I'm drinking the same thing, really. It's foamy and all that good stuff. So, ooh.
You should have seen him pouring the foam, man. He looked like a barista.
Oh, man, that was awesome.
It was cool.
You know, when I was down in Albuquerque, I bought my daughter one of those machines for her housewarming gift. So now we both got one.
There you go.
She called me the other day. She goes, mine's not working. I go, and she's like, she was made a noise, and hers is electric, so the thing moves up and down by itself. And so she says it didn't move, so she tried to force it down. I go, don't ever do that. And I kid you not, we have had that conversation before on other things.
Oh.
Where I've been like, please do not force it closed or whatnot, you know. But you know what? She said it's working, so that's all good.
There you go.
Anyway, so we got some really great coffee today. Today's going to be a little bit different because it is a Q&A session. We're going to skip a lot of our regular things because we have a lot of questions. And we're just going to kind of go over stuff during the video. But before we get to the question, let's do a little housekeeping really quick. First off, I want to say thank you to the Super Chats or the Chalupa Chats.
Chalupa Chats.
That we got 2 weeks ago for the 118 episode of the coffee video. We got one from Matt Pecht, P-E-C-H-T, I think that's right. And another one from Chili's Pull List. Is that correct?
Chili's Pull List.
Chili's Pull List. So there we go. So a couple super chalupa chats.
There we go. Thank
Appreciate
you.
that, you guys. It bought me a chalupa box. It really did. I had one just the other night. So
That's
there you
awesome.
Go. I also want to say thanks to our new Patreon members. We got a few different members. Jonathan, thank you. Circumstances, 2 words. Thank you. Jeff Everett just joined just earlier this morning. So I want to say thank you to all 3 of those people for joining our Patreon. If you want to join our Patreon, it's $3.99 a month, the price of 1 comic book a month. If you think Bob is worth at least 1 comic book a month, then join our Patreon. I'm worth a True Believers a month, which is $1. Bob's worth a Spawn, $2.99. Put it together, $3.99, you get $2. There you go.
That's how you do it right there.
Join our Patreon. They don't even make True Believers anymore, man. They stopped. Sucks.
That's the Bueller way. I'll do $3.99. I'll get $2 out of it.
There you go. That's exactly how it works. Ooh. Thank you, Todd McFarland.
Love it.
But thank you to those Patreon members. Appreciate that. It does help us keep the lights on, keeps the film going, keeps us going. Keeps Bob happy, you know.
Woo!
He gets a little grumpy.
Sometimes.
But when I say, hey, we got another Patreon, ooh.
Come on, man. Patreon and foam. I'm good.
I also want to say really quick, our buddy Justin Richards, who has his Kickstarter is ending like this week for A Silent Night. Please go and check that out. Last I checked, he's like $200 away from fully funding the Kickstarter. So link down below. A Silent Night, Justin Richards. He's a fellow Pacific Northwester. He's been on the coffee show.
Yep.
He was the writer and creator of Finger Guns.
Finger Guns, yep.
One of our favorite books.
Yep.
So go check that out. Support a independent creator. And like I said, he's like $200 away from fully funding.
That's awesome.
That's
good
really
for
cool.
him.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Another thing real quick, Bird City Comics. We've talked about them. We've partnered up with them now. You can go to their website, birdcitycomics.com. Anything on their website now, you enter the code Bueller, you save 10%. They got a brand new book coming out, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunter #1 exclusive cover. You know, a lot of people like the Star Wars Bounty Hunter stuff, so you can get that. And I also want to start featuring one of their older exclusives that they have. And they have a really cool Wolverine #3 by Adi Granat.
Right off. Yeah.
Dude, that thing's awesome.
Yes,
and it's
it
only like $9.99 for that variant, which is just a few dollars more than cover price. But that thing, I'll show a picture right here. I don't have that. I want that.
I have it.
Yeah, I figured you probably
I got the Virgin.
You probably paid more than $9.99 for it.
I did.
Anyway, I want to highlight some of the older ones that people might not have seen. So we're going to talk about those every week. And like I said, you get 10% off if you enter the code Bueller at birdcitycomics.com. And also, they have new exclusives every week as well. So it should be pretty good. Another thing, as you can see behind me, we got some blowtorch action going on.
Woo!
It's Monday morning, and you guys should be receiving your blowtorches right now. They are all mailed out by Thursday, and they're all like 2 to 3 day air. So everyone should be receiving them probably today or tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest, except for my international customers.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out. I filled out the form wrong, and I still have, there's only like 4 or 5, so it's not that big of a deal. But this week I'm going to get on it and make sure those go out, probably actually by today, to be totally honest. I have to go to the post office to mail those individually and have them fill out the forms and whatever. It's more complicated. It drives me nuts.
Customs paperwork, man.
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. It's the customs paperwork. I didn't do that, apparently, so. I want to make sure you guys get your books, so I'm going to make sure I take every necessary step for you guys to get them. But as far as the U.S. people, they're already on their way. You should have them right now, possibly. You might have got them on Saturday. If not today, tomorrow, the next day. And thank you, everyone who purchased the blowtorch. And guess what? I have some extra. I have quite a few extra. They actually sent me extra copies. So I have extra sets of the black and white and the color. If you're interested, just let me know. Just send me an email, Buellercomics@gmail.com. And I can get you a copy of Blowtorch #1, the black and white, and the color one. So there you go. Not
That's
bad.
awesome.
I've got quite a few extra sets.
Come on.
It's pretty nice. They print a little extra.
And you benefit.
It's to my benefit and your benefit as well. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's it. That's all the announcements I have. And we're just going to get right into the Q&A session. We have a ton of questions. I did take the liberty on some of the questions to kind of shorten them up. And I abbreviated the names a little bit just so we could kind of get through them a little bit faster. So they're little condensed versions of the questions and the names a little bit shorter. But you guys will all figure it out if you left one of the questions for us. We're going to answer it because I'm literally answering every question as of Saturday at noon. So there you go.
Wow, it's a lot of questions.
It is. All right, Bob, guess what?
What?
You got the first page.
Okay, here we go. First one is by Tommy N. They say, question to B&B. Which comic miniseries was canceled and it hurt you the most?
Join the Future. That's one of my favorites. There is definitely more story to be told in that, and it's a recent story from last year. And they pulled the plug after 5 issues, and there is a lot more story to be told in that. And the creator, Zach Kaplan, still says he wants to do more. So
yeah.
I really enjoyed that one.
I think the one that hurt the most for me came out of DC Comics, and it was that latest Suicide Squad run that Tom Taylor was writing.
A lot of people like that.
It was amazing, and they just up and canceled it after 9 issues. So that one hurt.
DC canceled a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. All right, the next one comes from Anton M. He says, have you guys ever known about the character Rom?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's it. Next question.
All right. Next one comes from our good buddy TM Nerdy, Travis. He says, question for Bueller. At what age were you when you first discovered your love for comics?
I'd say around 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yep.
That's awesome. Question for Bob. We all know Daredevil is your favorite Marvel character. But who was your first DC character that you fell in love with, hero or villain? No brainer right there. It was Batman.
Batman?
Yeah, absolutely. Batman 66 to the series, and then when I first got into DC Comics, I went straight for Batman. I loved him.
What about a villain?
On the DC side?
Sure.
DC side, it was always the Joker.
There you go.
Yeah.
They kind of go together.
Yeah, for Marvel, Doctor Doom, hands down.
Yeah, I know that.
All right. Next one comes from Robert S. He says, what is a comic series that you felt started off really promising, but just ended up with not living up to your expectations?
That's really easy for me. It was Heroes in Crisis. I thought that book was really good. The first half was excellent, and then the second half faded. And by the end of the book, it was like I almost didn't care about it anymore. So that's a more recent one I could think of. Yeah,
there was one that came out last year that was a black and white comic, and we got the first issue, and we loved it. And the second issue was nothing but word bubbles.
20XX.
20XX. Yeah, that's the one for me.
Sorry, 20XX.
I know.
I think it's still going.
Is it really?
I think so.
Oh, my gosh. I think we've cast more shade on that book than the other. All right, next one comes from Jeff S. He says, it's fair to say that at some point in the future, publishers will cease the printing of hard comic books and move to online publishing only. What effects do you see happening to the comic book markets?
Seriously, I don't even see it happening. They're already doing online publishing, and they're doing the physical versions as well. I think that's the way it's going to be. I don't think we're going to lose one. I think the physical media is there. It's the only media that has lasted, even though there's an option to go digital, as far as paper books, papers, all that stuff, and other things. So I don't think it does. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, digital is only 10 to 21%, I think, of their sales. So they're nowhere near completely switching it over.
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah. Nah, exactly.
Definitely not in yours.
You shut up, man. All right, next one comes from Big Harm. What's up, buddy? He says, when Bueller goes on the road, will Bueller be taking the show on the road too? Or will Bob get a new co-host? So let's answer that one first.
Okay. When I go on the road, I really don't know. I think there is something that me and Bob could still do together as far as streaming together or whatnot, a live show or something. Maybe we could even put it together. We've filmed stuff that's live and then edited it and then put it out.
Yeah.
So we do know how to do that. So I think we will come to a nice version of the Coffee and Comic show that will still live on, just a little bit different.
Right, exactly. And the other question, I don't foresee me getting another co-host. I just don't.
It's not in the contract.
Will Bueller join Sam and I on our Wednesday team-up show to talk about The Punisher on May 5th?
Absolutely not.
No?
No, I'm not hanging out with those guys.
And last question, will Bob finally get a Kanto exclusive? I can't comment on that right now. All right. So next one comes from James A. Is there room in the DC or Marvel corporate construct to publish their own indie or even create their own titles?
I don't think so. I don't think Marvel or DC would want to, because it's totally against what they're about. Having creator-owned titles and their corporation doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that there is a possibility for it going forward if they keep going the direction that they are. Because why wouldn't you, if the hot talent is going over and doing creator-owned books over here anyway, and your stuff is starting to go down because sales are going down, why wouldn't you capitalize on one of those creators coming over and doing it with your company?
Yeah.
I just see it's a possibility.
It could be, although I think the payday is getting a thing through Marvel or DC, and they let them still make their own books. I mean, Donny Cates still makes his own books for Image or whoever or whatnot.
Right, exactly.
So it's not like even though when they say they're exclusive, they're really not. I don't know of too many people who are exclusives. I mean, even they said like Peach Momoko was a Marvel exclusive. She still does a ton of other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
She does stuff for the Event Horizon book for Titan. I see those, or Blade, or not Blade, but the I can't think of it. Blade Runner. She's done some for those as well. So I mean, I don't know what.
I think when they say
means.
exclusive, it just means if you work for Marvel, you don't work for DC.
I think that maybe that's it.
Yeah,
that might be it. So
there you go. All right, the next one comes from Marcus L. He says, "My question is, you guys are big Marvel dudes. So what DC books have you enjoyed or loved?" I think let's go ahead and dispel that really quick. I mean, I love Marvel, but I love DC just as much.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, Marvel's always been not right now. It's independent books by far. I mean, it's like not even close. But as far as growing up, it was always Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I got Marvel characters that I love more, but it's ebbed and flowed.
Yeah, I would say Deceased is one of my favorite series. The Flash run that Joshua Williamson did. He hasn't been on it for a few books now, but his run that he did for the first 80 books was awesome. Still the Batman by Tinian is still another one I read to this day, and I'm liking Swamp Thing by Rom V.
By Rom V, exactly. So there you go. I would agree with all those. Back in the day, I was a huge Teen Titans fan. After Batman, it was always Teen Titans. It kind of fell off from there, but that's another book that I wish would come back in full swing.
I like Plastic Man.
Plastic Man.
I always kind of like it was quirky, and whatnot. So,
but I'm a huge Flash fan as well.
Yeah, I like his legs.
His legs.
You don't have any pants on.
That's true.
It's like rubber legs.
He like ripped off Jack LaLanne suit.
Gross. All right, here you go. Here's your buddy.
All right, next one comes from Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. Two Gun says, question for Bob. If you had a choice to get your first exclusive cover on Daredevil or Kanto, which book would you choose? That's a mean question to ask.
That's a great question. If you don't answer this right, you're not going to get a prize. And by the way, there is prizes. I forgot to tell you guys. Mm-hmm. If Bob answers the question right, he gets a prize.
Well, I'll say this right now. If I was to get my own exclusive, I would hopefully get both of them on the cover, but I can't do that.
No, yeah.
And so, but I have to pick Daredevil.
Okay, there you get a point. All right, Bob, look at this. The Walking Dead #1 Astro Zombie Comics exclusive.
What?
From Albuquerque, New Mexico, because you kept telling people I was in Arizona. And I was actually in Albuquerque. That is one of their exclusives from the shop, and it's actually autographed by the shop owners as well.
That's awesome. I was protecting you, buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
I told everyone I was in Albuquerque. What are you protecting them from?
Anyway, I was just trying to save myself. But that's awesome, dude. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's
You're
pretty
very
cool.
welcome.
Very
There
cool.
you go.
Thank you to the owners for signing that for me.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Come on. All right.
Albuquerque. All right.
Two Gun has a question for you, too. He says, if you had a chance to have Rob Liefeld do an exclusive cover for you on the current X-Force title, what character would you want on the cover?
I'd have a few. Now, if it's wide open, it'd be Cable, Deadpool, Domino, and Blob.
And Blob.
I love, he drew Blob on like issue number like 89 or whatnot of New Mutants, and it's like one of my favorites. But he kind of teamed up with McFarlane with it, I think.
Right.
But still one of my favorites. And I might have the issue number wrong, but anyway, it's kind of cool. Blob.
That's awesome. I mean, you were naming out the characters. I'm like, yep, and then Blob.
Blob. Go find it. You'll know what I'm talking about.
I know that. I know the cover you mean.
Yep.
All right. Next one comes from Christian Ramirez. He says, I didn't want to ask this last time just in case it was a personal story or something, and feel free to skip my question if it is, but Bueller, did you have an accident or an issue with your right hand? You literally never open it. It's gotten to the point where I watch your other hand rather than your face just so that I have to know. I mean, you grab things all day long with the other hand, but when you use both to show a comic, your right hand is only using your thumb and knuckle.
Okay, so I get asked this every now and then, and a lot of times when I get asked and I tell people, they feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I want to let them know, please don't feel uncomfortable, because it's something I live with for my entire life. I have cerebral palsy on my whole right side of my body, pretty much right down, like Two-Face, right down the middle. It's something I've had since birth. I have very little use of my right side. Like I couldn't even hold this coffee cup in my right hand. I wouldn't be able to do it. But my left hand overcompensates, obviously, and that's why I move my left hand around a lot and not my right hand. But Bob knows this. I mean, I'm fully functional. I'm walking around doing my thing, and pretty big guy or whatnot, so I'm never too worried about it. But like I said, it's a birth defect. It's cerebral palsy. It's been around forever or whatnot, you know. And I don't know any different. You know, I've never had a different experience in my life because, like I said, I've had it from day one, and it just is what it is. I've adapted, you know, for things I've had to do. Growing up, I played sports, and I was actually really good in sports. I was great at basketball and football and all that stuff. I mean, I excelled above average, even though I had this disability. So it never slowed me down. So I don't want you guys to think that it does. I mean, there is a little bit of pain involved as I get older as far as arthritis, and it just kind of is what it is. But you know what? I've had many surgeries over the years. I haven't had any for a long time because they really don't do any good anymore. But I am fine. So if you ask me that question, I will answer. And I actually have a pretty good sense of humor about it. And sometimes I use it to my advantage to make people feel uncomfortable.
You kill me, dude.
I'm like, really? Is that the way you talk to a handicapped person? And they're like, dude, I do that to my brother-in-law all the time. And he's like, Jesus, man.
That's messed up, bro.
I love it.
But yeah, seriously though, it doesn't slow you down. This whole set right here, this dude built.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't because of my back, but he built the whole dang thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's never been an issue. I just, you know, it's an obstacle, yes, but there's ways around it. And when you don't know any different, it'd be one thing if I was 15 and all of a sudden I got an accident and I couldn't use my right side. It would be hard for me to adjust.
Yeah.
But since I don't know any different, it just is what it is. And so I wouldn't know what it would be like to have two working hands or whatnot.
Right.
Or two working feet or legs or whatever it is. So anyway, there you go.
There you have it.
There you got it. So thank you, Christian. I don't mind answering that question at all. I actually used to tell people at the bar. Oh my God.
Here we go.
Me and my buddy was like, "Oh yeah, we just got back from the military," and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And my buddy would say, "Oh, he got his arm stuck in a tank turret, and he was swinging him around, and he couldn't let go." and almost ripped his arm off. It's never been the same. That was an ongoing joke for years. I go, yeah. And they're like, thank you for your service.
Dude, you're so bad, man.
It wasn't my idea. It was Damon's idea.
You went along with it.
I just told them what they wanted to hear.
I love it.
There you go.
That's great. Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, have a little fun with it, right?
You got to.
There you go.
All right, the next one comes from Robbie K. He says, why do you think Ultimate Fallout 4 is so high in price when there are so many copies out there?
What do you think?
Because it became hot very quickly.
I really don't know. I mean, it's just another Spider-Man character that they're trying to build to be another Spider-Man character,
right.
Really. And how popular Peter Parker is, they're trying to do the same thing with this guy. Whether it takes, I don't know. I don't think it ever does, to be honest. I don't think there's only one Peter Parker. And there's only one real Spider-Man, even though there's another character, Miles Morales, and he does have some popularity. I don't know. It's not my generation. I would, if I was a teenager right now, I'd probably give you a different response.
Right.
But it's just, I don't know.
I never got to read Ultimate Fallout, but I loved Into the Spider-Verse. That cemented me on that character. I love, Miles Morales. The comic book hasn't grabbed me as much as that has.
Yeah.
But I think he's here to stay.
I didn't understand why the video game spiked the book more than the movie did.
That blew me away.
That was dumb. And I said that before.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, didn't they make a whole movie about this?
Right, and they just had a game that came out the year before that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, but again, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I dig the character.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so the next one comes from Edwin V. He says, for B&B, what life lesson did you get from a comic book?
I thought about that. Honestly, multiple.
Multiple, yeah.
I mean, there's more than one. I mean, the cliche one is don't judge a book by its cover, and just something like that. I mean, just a good versus evil, or whatnot. And there's a lot. I think this. I couldn't really narrow it down when I thought about that, because I read that question. I was like, oh, that's a really great question. Multiple things have come from comic books in my life that have changed my perspective as far as what I think and how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll say the same thing. When I was growing up, when I was young, I didn't have a lot of role models, and comic books was actually my moral compass. And so I learned a lot of things from comic books.
There you go.
So, all right, next one comes from Davey S. He says, has the comic book audience changed over the decades?
It just will in general.
Yeah.
Different people look for different things. Nostalgia right now is a big thing, But, a lot of people are coming back into it. That's the thing. It's a lot of people our age and your age that have the same story. Oh, we stopped collecting, now we're getting back into it.
Yeah.
We've changed. The biggest change is we have money in our pockets.
This is true. Time and money.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
All right, next one comes from Justin T. He says, Daredevil storylines. Are there any runs of titles that you have been meaning to read but haven't had the chance to?
That's you, Bob.
Not on Daredevil. I've pretty much read just about every run. There's a couple of runs that were hard for me to get into. One being Andy Diggle's run, the whole Shadowland storyline. Daredevil becoming a demon just wasn't my cup of tea. So I've gone back and picked up pieces of it, but that's one of the few. Other than that, I've pretty much read everything that there is to be Daredevil. So there's nothing on the table.
Right on. Did you read that movie adaptation with the what's his name in there?
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
You loved it.
I know I didn't.
Why do you have this poster above your bed?
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
Huh? What?
Right up there with my trolls.
No,
right?
Smurfs.
The Smurfs. Yeah, there you go. You got the next page.
I do. All right, this is from 62 Lefty Blues. Question for Bob and Bueller Monday show. Number one, were either of you in the military? No, I wasn't. But if you ask somebody at the bar, they'd tell you differently. Were you in the military?
No, but I wanted to be.
Okay.
I ended up getting barred from all military services because of all things. I was allergic to bee stings.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah.
Number two, who has the most ex-wives?
Me.
How many do you got?
3.
Oh, my God.
This is my 2. This is my third wife.
Only got one.
There you go.
If you get past 3, you're the problem.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. I did not expect that. Another question from 62 Lefty Blues. If you could pitch a story for your favorite character, what would the story be and which character? Do you think?
I can't think. I mean, I wasn't prepared for this one.
I was.
Oh, because you read it. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go first.
I would pitch Punisher, and if he had the ability to fly. And I think that would be kind of cool. Punisher just flying around shooting people.
There you go.
There you go. That'll be a story. He just woke up one day and he could fly. Maybe he grew wings or something, like the Archangel or whatnot. Mm-hmm. He'd fly around shooting people.
That'd be cool.
I know you got that. There you go.
I would like to see a story with Daredevil because his dad died after he had the abilities. And I would have liked to have seen a story where basically he stops the Fixer from killing his dad. Yeah. And he had his dad. It's just like an Elseworld story. Sure. You see what his life would have been like when his dad was still there. Yeah. I think that would have been an amazing story.
He probably wouldn't do anything.
Probably not.
Play video games.
Probably.
I don't know. All right. This next one is from Ryan E. Says, getting back into comic collecting after 15 years, should I focus on new comics or focus on finishing sets? Any insight would be appreciated. Right now, I'm focusing on new stuff. I'm just enjoying new stuff because it's new, and I'm looking at new stories I've never seen before, especially with the independent market, non-superhero titles. I'm really enjoying that stuff right now. I'm not really concentrating on sets and stuff right there. I was for a while, but I kind of took a step back because of this year, and there just hasn't been the availability to do so, and I don't buy a lot of stuff online. Yeah. So mainly just new stuff for me right now.
Yeah, without being the ability to, do a lot of the events that we were doing and the way comic shops are right now, setting up my runs has slowed down greatly. I love the new comics that are coming out right now. Yeah. So pretty much the same answer for me.
Okay. One from Alfred P. says, if you could put a DC character into the Marvel title, who would it be and vice versa?
Put a DC character in a Marvel title.
And vice versa.
Marvel and vice versa. That's, I never really thought about. I mean, I like when they cross over.
Somebody didn't read their questions.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, let me go ahead and go first there.
All right.
I take Spider-Man, throw him in the DC universe. I think that'd be kind of interesting, seeing him swing around Metropolis or Gotham or something like that. And then I would take Plastic Man and stick him with the Fantastic Four. And see how that goes.
There you go.
Would there be some kind of weird thing between them? Hey, look what I can do.
Yeah,
kind of like a measuring contest.
Yeah, a measuring contest.
I don't know.
And get them out there with codpiece and see who anyway.
There you go, codpiece in the Marvel universe. Right. How do you like that?
So I'd have a breakout from Arkham Asylum, and when they break out, they go into another dimension and actually slip into the Marvel universe and get dropped off in New York City.
There you go.
And so the Batman villains dropped off in like Hell's Kitchen. I want to see that.
All right, that's doable.
There you go.
You know what? You get a prize for that. Here you go. Prize for Bob. There you go, Bob.
Oh!
And that's not even from me. That's from Gerald Wallace.
Are you serious?
He sent that here.
Oh, Gerald, thank you very much.
And, you're going to get these anyway, so.
Lady Bullseye, y'all.
There you go. Pretty
that
cool.
Is awesome. Appreciate that, my friend.
There you are.
Woo!
Next one is from Scott A. He goes, foils are coming back in fashion. Is this a sign from the comic gods that the current boom is coming to an end? I don't think so. I think just nostalgia thing. Yeah. And I like seeing them there are not too many of them. There's a few here and there. There's like that new one by Boom. Mm-hmm. They're different than they used to be, though. They're not like a solid foil. Right. As compared to what they were in the past. Like, there was like pure gold. Yeah. So they're like a light version.
Yeah, in the old days, it used to be like foil that was basically put on top of cardstock. Now they're actually pages that feel like they're foil. Yeah. So, interesting.
Okay, next one is from Austin M. Said, what was the first title or comic that you bought that started you on this crazy road? First book that you bought, Crazy Road.
Well, the one that put me on the road. My story. It's Avengers 58. Yeah. Even an android can cry.
This is mine right there. I still have it. Mm-hmm. Kansas Champions. What are they looking at? That's all I want to know. That was it. What the hell are they looking at?
Right.
So that's it.
It got you into comics. That's all we know.
There you go. Next one is from Aki. Aki says, I'm a bit puzzled about those comics that seem to only go stratospheric when a TV show or a movie is about to be released. I guess my question is, do these books stay hot and super expensive after all the hype has died down? Or does their price just quietly bomb while the next hot property takes over? Yeah, they do. I mean, they go... The hype is what brings them up to the highest point, probably.
Sure.
And then they go down a little bit after that.
Yeah.
And they don't really bomb. I don't think that's a good word to use. Bomb will probably be going below what they were before. But the hype, when the hype is real, because, I mean, here's the hype only lasts for a little while before there's something else. And then you just moved on already to something else. So during that hype train of like 2 weeks, that's when you want to sell it, probably, if you have it for a good price. And then after that, it goes down in price, but doesn't bomb necessarily.
No, it doesn't bomb. There are a few that are in the 50-cent bins that they go up for a little while, and then you see them a year later, and they're back in the 50-cent bins.
Yeah,
that every once in a while happens, but for the most part, they don't drop below. Yeah.
Next one is from Mike Seja. He said, "Question for Monday: what did you think about the Batman Fortnite comic with the game codes?"
I don't play Fortnite, and I didn't even know that they actually did that.
Okay, it's stupid. It's dumb. I mean, apparently the comic's selling for $20 right now because there's a game code in there for a suit or something like that. Okay,
that you can get in game or something.
Yeah. So the comic isn't worth nothing. It's the code that's worth something.
Right.
Okay. And what they do with that code depends on how much that comic supposedly is worth. So maybe a year from now, they say, hey, we're just going to make the code available for free, or this skin or whatever it is, which they normally do.
Right.
And then what happens?
Well,
then the comic's not worth anything.
I will say that it's worth it if one of those people get into Batman comics as a result of that.
There you go. If you stop playing Fortnite and start reading Batman, there you go. It's worth something. But as far as the making the comic work, the comic isn't worth nothing. It's the stupid code that's worth something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a slap in the face to the real comics. I don't know. I saw that and somebody said, "Oh, look, they sold out." I'm like, I don't care. It's a code. The code is worth the money, not the comic and stuff. And it's just get rid of the code. Just sell me a good comic, and if I like the comic, maybe that'll be worth something by itself.
Right.
But it's all up to them what they do with that skin. Right. Do they make it available to purchase for $2 next month? I don't know. Then they make it free. If that's the case, well then that book that you thought was worth $20 isn't worth anything.
Exactly.
Because it's literally just the code. That's what's making that worth money.
Absolutely. And we're not saying anything against Fortnite players.
No,
you guys you guys play that to your heart's content. We play video games, just I don't play that one.
Imagine if you bought a comic book and the reason why it was expensive because the digital copy was in there.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
So, or imagine you bought a comic book and there was a digital code for a digital variant of that book to your collection.
Yeah.
That's what this is going
for. Oh, back in the day, they used to have those coupons inside of the book, and now, if you don't have that coupon in the book, the value is lowered.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, no, I don't want those in there.
Yeah, well, yep, dumb. Anyway, next one is from Shirkov2814. Says, question, we all have our favorite covers. What is yours and Bob's favorite cover? Mine is Aquaman 42, which is an amazing Nick Cardy cover. Favorite cover, Bob?
There's so many. I mean, just pick one off the top of my head. Silver Surfer #4.
There you go.
I love that.
This is actually mine right there. That's probably my favorite cover of all time because it has all the superheroes on there. So that's, as far as all time, that's probably my favorite one. So, question from Apex Comics. So where could I buy Mylar covers and boards? I don't know. Do they even exist anymore? I mean, hell, I got two supply companies that sponsors the show, and I couldn't even tell you.
They're still there.
They're still there?
Out there. Yeah, they're very pricey.
Yeah.
But I'm seriously, Comic Pro line, I mean, that in-between is just as good as a Mylar. Yeah. And
supplies are very short supply.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Right now, for some reason. It just is what it is. And I don't know. So, I mean, if you can find them, buy them. I don't know. But I think Comic Pro line is... They're working on alternative. I mean, they have their alternative, but I think they're working on something else as well. So, I don't know.
Hopefully it gets resolved soon.
Yeah, it's been forever. Next one is Copy 801. So here's a question for you. Was it easier to collect comics when you two were younger or now? Well, now. I got money in my pocket.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about, I probably buy more comics now than I did when I was a kid, just because of money. They were a lot cheaper back then. But it seems to me that Wednesdays were a lot more fun back then.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have to ride my bike. I don't have to ride my bike anymore. That's
Yeah.
nice. I don't want to pedal. Too much work, sweat. 100 degrees out. Let's pedal my bike 5 miles into town. You know, I don't have to do that anymore. I just get my air conditioned van.
For me, it was there was yeah. There you go. There was something about hopping on the bus and going into Santa Monica to go get my comic books. It made me feel adult, like I was independent.
Independent.
Exactly.
There you go. Nice. Next one here is from Half Moon Picks. Says, besides comics, what are or was your trade professions?
Before comics, is that what he says?
Besides comics.
Oh, besides comics. Besides this, I work in supply chain for Daimler Trucks, and then my other job is I am a pastor where I do drug and alcohol counseling.
There you go. As far as I go, this is what I do. I just do comics full time. I was an ordained minister. We had that in common for a little while, but I'm not anymore because I didn't renew it. But it only cost me like $20.
So you didn't have to go through like normal ordination.
No, man. I just filled out something online. I was good.
So you can marry people.
For a while. I told my grandma because my grandma.
She was a missionary, right?
She was a missionary, for 80 years or whatnot. It took my grandma 80 years to find God. It took me about $19.99 plus tax.
Oh my gosh, dude. Let's move on.
On the internet.
We can move on now.
Anyway, okay. Richard C. says, I know both of you guys used to read comics, then stopped reading, and recently started to read comics again. I want to know why you stopped reading comics in the first place, and what got you back into reading comics. Easy for me, it was women. Mm-hmm. Just ladies. I wanted to go hang out with ladies. I was a little successful, and then I wasn't successful, and I was really successul, and that was a good time right there. And then I was horribly unsuccessful for a long period of time, and I started reading comics again.
There you go. For me, I mean, my lady, she didn't mind that I had comics, but for me, it was about money. I had to end up selling my collection because we needed money to move into a place, and it was a decision that I regretted big time, and I couldn't imagine myself having to recollect everything, and so I stopped reading comics for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And then it was the MCU movies that sparked my interest back up again.
There you go. Right on. Okay, I got the next one here as well, and I'll answer it as well because I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. Mm-hmm. It says, gentlemen, you both decide to have a potluck dinner. Mm-hmm. You each have invite any 5 people within the comic industry, past or present. Who are they, and what do they bring to the potluck? So my 5 are Lee, Kirby, Ditko. That's easy. McFarlane and the Claremont, and just bring different coffees and chalupas. I don't care what they bring. Coffee, chalupa, and some soda pop, and that's about it. But those are my 5 easy picks for me.
Yeah, I can see that. For me, it would be definitely Lee and Kirby. I'd go John Romita. Most definitely, I'd go Jerry Conway.
Nice.
And but the other one that I'd bring to the table, who's still living now, is Roy Thomas. Just to have all those guys sitting at the table. I do have a Mount Rushmore of comic industry people, and some of those are not in that group. Yeah. But we'll get into that another time.
All right. And would they bring chalupas?
Chalupas, man.
There you go.
Yeah, chalupas.
Chalupa chat. Don't forget the chalupa chat.
Chalupas and shot glasses. There we go.
There you go. Okay, next one. And this one's good, too. Robert J. says, okay, I have a question. When you make a coffee video, how long does it take to get down to the final product? This is interesting. I've had a few people ask me this. Mm-hmm. There is tons of hours that you guys have never seen.
Never.
And that we have to cut just to get this within an hour and 20 minutes or hour and 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. There's literally like, hey, Bob, it's 2.5 hours long. And we cut an hour off the thing.
Yep.
Total big, huge. I mean, we could make another 100 episodes with what we've cut.
Yeah, and it's never my decision, so I'm sure that all the best cuts are left inside of the actual video.
Never my decision. What does that mean? You guys give me free reign on it and stuff,
I saw him. I'm like, I'm hoping he's showing my best side, but he's really showing his.
Feel free to. You want to edit one?
Nope.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
He takes a long time editing.
Yeah, it takes. The reason why we started filming on Saturday because it takes me all day Sunday to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's why we moved it to filming on Saturday morning. But there is tons of stuff that you guys have never seen that's lost forever because I don't keep any of that footage. I just delete it. So
that's kind of a shame. We should like a blooper reel from years down the road.
Oh yeah, look, it's really funny because sometimes we'll leave the bloopers in for Bob.
Yeah.
And then like if I screw up, whatnot, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna leave that in," and I start saying cuss words.
He does.
Just so I know we're not gonna leave it in. So I just start dropping F-bombs left and right.
That's my buddy, y'all.
There's no way we're leaving that in there. Okay, next one is Jonathan B. said, "Hey, Bob and Bueller, question. What's up with the 20 exclusive variants for crossover, but no store does a exclusive for Spawn?" I think that has to do with McFarlane, because he doesn't really do a lot of variants. As far as the regular 4 covers, I don't know of any recently store exclusives that he's let out there or whatnot.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think he's done any store exclusives. I think he's kept Spawn close to the heart, close to the chest from the very beginning. If there's going to be any covers done, he's going to commission them himself.
I think so.
And they're not going to be store exclusives where somebody else gets the money for that.
Yeah.
He's going to keep it in house. So it's him.
Yeah, I think so too. Which I would love to do a Spawn exclusive.
Absolutely.
All right, guess what?
I'm up next.
You are up next.
All right. So the next one comes from John M. He says, "This is my question. What are some dirt cheap comics you suggest? I recently scored on The Punisher, but there has to be some indies you suggest."
Well, actually, Spawn, the first 100 issues of Spawn are pretty affordable.
Yeah.
They were widely printed, so you can get them for pretty cheap, $3 or $5 a book. There's a couple keys here and there, but for the most part, you're not going to spend a lot. If you jump from like 100 to 200, they're all like really short print, and they're all very hard to find.
Yeah.
So, but the first 100 you can get pretty reasonable. I'd say some other ones are one of my favorites, the West Coast Adventures. That was a nice little run.
Yeah.
The Batman, The Dark Knight, the one that came out in the 80s or 90s with the 4 different covers,
right?
The colors. That whole run, there's nothing more than $5.
Yeah.
There's over 100 books in that run. I think number 50 is maybe the most expensive one. That's maybe $5.
Sure.
But you can get that whole run for dirt cheap, and that's a great Batman title that you can pick up. So.
Yeah, and he's talking about indies. There's a lot of Ed Brubaker stuff out there with Sean Phillips. Is very easy to get. A lot of people collect those in trades, but you can get the full run of like Do or Die, Criminal, and there's a couple others, and it's amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with those.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff out there you can still find. All right, you got the next one as well?
Okay, so the next one comes from Joe M. He says, "Do you have any comic hardcovers in your collection? If so, how many and what are they?"
I really don't. As far as hardcovers, I don't think I do. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Unless somebody sends them to me. But I really don't. I have some trades, but that's about it.
Yeah, I do have a few hardcovers. Like I got the 3 hardcover set of Lock and Key, which I absolutely love.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, I have the 3 hardcover set of Saga.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then I also have some stuff by Brubaker and Phillips hardcover, and then Dark Knights as well. Yeah. So I've got some hardcovers.
All right, Bob, you get another book.
All right.
Good answer. Look at that. Another one from Gerald Wallace.
Whoa. Look at this. I don't have this. This is Captain America 234.
Now you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
With Daredevil on the cover. Dude, Jared, thank you very much.
There you go.
That cover is badass. Woo!
And they're in really nice bags.
Yeah, this is the good miler right here.
The good miler.
My lights.
Good job answering that question, Bob.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
welcome,
that. So the next one comes from Brandon A. He says, "In all my years of buying books online, I've received 1 or 2 with the backing board in the middle of the book. Yet within the last year alone, I've received 3 or 4. I assume it's for a good reason. So what is the reason? Second question is, how long do you think you could go without coffee?"
Okay, so the first thing, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about putting it in the middle. I think I did that for a small period of time. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I did it. I don't know if it does anything different to the book. The pages are different now than what they were. Actually, they're all different than what they were. Every publisher uses a different type of paper, it seems like. So I don't know if that makes any difference.
Yeah, the only time I've seen people put the cover in the middle of the book is when the bag is too big for the board. They'll put the board in the book and it kind of spreads it out so that it fits in the bag nicely. Yeah. That's the only time I've seen people purposely do that. Other than that, I don't know why they would.
Yeah. As far as how long I can go without coffee, about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, maybe 15 if it's a bad day. Yeah. There we go. Okay, next one comes from Martin H. He says, I don't feel my local comic shop loves me as much as I love them. What should I do?
So this is a great question, and I actually have a good answer for you because
All right.
I have some experience. Not it's with another store. So Babbage's used to be GameStop or what?
Yeah.
Babbage's
Babbage's.
is now GameStop. So I used to work right across from Babbage's, and there was a couple of really nice ladies that worked there. Okay, and really nice ladies. And so anyway, I would buy my games there and stuff. You know, they had that return policy, and then whenever I ran past the return policy. And I was like, oh man, I'm a couple days late, you know, and stuff. I'd go in there and I'd put in the cartridge because it was in the small box, little thing of chocolate bar. And I tell you what, man, every time I put a chocolate bar inside that case, I got my money back.
There you go. Talking
It
about
was a 50-cent Hershey's chocolate bar. Here's your $50 back. Worked every time. Emery, love you.
this is Bueller, y'all.
Yep, loved
That's
it.
great.
Lovely ladies. Lovely ladies. I love them. They were great.
That's awesome. So you can do that through the comic shop owner?
Yeah, you
go
can
up-
give a chocolate bar.
Give him a chocolate bar?
If it's a dude, you know, I don't know what to do.
All right.
That guy gave me a chocolate bar.
Yes.
Congratulations.
There you go. All right. So next one comes from Brandon D. He says, what do you think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Have y'all read any of the current and spectacular IDW run? So I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because they started with Daredevil, right? The whole reason why you have Turtles is because of what happened to Matt Murdock. So there you go.
I don't know what he's talking about, but anyway,
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know what any of that meant. But sure, I like turtles. I like turtles.
Yeah?
I'm getting the last Ronin run. I'm going to read that. So that's really the only thing I'm reading right now. So
Well-
I was always a bigger fan of just the cartoon, not the books, to be honest. So
Well, Eastman and Laird were huge Daredevil fans, and in the beginning of the very first book of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's a kid, and there's an accident that happens right in front of him, and that's how the turtles get dumped into the sewer. Well, that accident is the truck that turned over that actually put the stuff in Matt Murdock's eyes. They based it on that.
sure.
Splinter is actually Stick, right? The foot is actually the hand. I mean, it's all Daredevil based.
The foot is the hand.
Yeah.
Okay, words of wisdom from Bob. The foot is the hand.
There we go.
The hand is the foot.
You don't forget it, though.
I got it, dude. Jesus.
Radio F, he says, question, I watched the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier today. Now I'd like to read some of the books. Would you please compare the spirit of the TV show with the story in the comic books of theirs from the last, say, 1 or 2 years?
I was not familiar with Winter Soldier really at all. He came out during a time when I wasn't collecting comic books, and my introduction to the Winter Soldier was through the Captain America movies, to be totally honest. As far as Falcon goes, I've always been a Falcon fan from day one. I actually think I have one of my pride possessions right here is the first appearance of Falcon. Way different story how they meet.
Right.
Captain America isn't even in his own body when he meets the Falcon, and so it's pretty interesting. I was always a big fan of the limited 4-part series back in the 80s of Falcon. That's what really introduced me to the character, and I liked him ever since. But as far as newer stuff, I couldn't really tell you that much newer stuff, and especially not with Winter Soldier.
Yeah, with Winter Soldier, they're definitely basing it on. Ed Brubaker's the one who brought Bucky back, and that's what they're basing the whole storyline on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the overtones that are in the books that are in the movies and the show that are drawn directly from the book. So there's huge inspiration there. I would say go back and read the Captain America Ed Brubaker run. It's like 8 years worth of comics, and they're phenomenal. And then as far as Falcon goes, I kind of like the MCU version of the Falcon better than I do the comic book version. Only because the comic book version, to me, he always seemed like that he had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And
That was a bird.
there you go.
Not a chip, it's a bird.
But I've always loved Sam. I thought he was a much better friend and sidekick to Captain America than Bucky ever was.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't imagine Sam not being part of that storyline. And so I've always loved that.
There you go.
All right, next one comes from
Byron Yu.
Byron Yu. He says, what was the first comic title you bought, and what drew you to it?
I can remember Avengers or Avengers West Coast was the first one. I just liked all the characters on the cover. That's when I was really. I couldn't tell you what issue it was. I just remember seeing Avengers and seeing a bunch of different people on the cover, and they all look really cool. So.
Yeah. Again, Avengers is what got me, hooked on comics. I read Origins, Marvel Origins book that gave all the origins of the main characters, and I was a huge Thor fan way before I got into Daredevil. Nice. Yeah. So this next one comes from Roger. He says, "What was your first indie character or book that got you to explore outside the big two publishers on a normal basis?"
Well, Dark Horse is what introduced me to probably indie stuff because it was in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so right off the bat, it was Terminator, Predator, Aliens. I mean, those are well-known franchise movies, but they made the comics, and I got all those. But I remember Concrete. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That was a character I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of a version of the Thing almost. And I remember getting a few of those books. This is before like Image and stuff hit like that. So I would have to say Dark Horse was my first introduction, mainly, like I said, just because they were literally in the neighborhood, and it was kind of a big deal back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Concrete was kind of cool. I like that one.
Yeah. Way back in the day, when you used to have Malibu Comics and Valiant, Badger was a comic that I got into. I liked Exo Manowar. Yeah. I thought was pretty cool. And then in the last couple of years, I started back up with the big two. And I think the very first one that I read was Ice Cream Man. That really hooked me back into reading indies on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Loved it ever since.
There you go.
All right, so the next one comes from Sapphire G. He says, "What are your thoughts on Absolute Comics Group titles? Super strong titles, but not a lot of frequent releases."
I think you just pointed it out right there. That's the problem. They are not frequent enough or on time or whatever they say the release dates are. I don't know if that has to do with Diamond or whatnot.
I can answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead, because you have some personal.
Yeah, I actually I've talked with the guys from Absolute, and they've sent me their releases for the whole first half of the year, and they're all sitting there waiting to be released. It's all done. The work is done. It has to do with Diamond and their decision as to when they want to release them. And so I really feel sorry for those guys. But I mean, how many weeks did you show White Widow being, coming out, and it would be like, oh, this is going to be delayed again.
There's still issues. I mean, I kind of hesitate to show their books because there's literally issues I showed a year ago that have not come out.
Yeah.
From Absolute Comic Group. It's like, I remember seeing this back in December, and it's still not out yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I put it on my list? I don't know. And it's a shame because they do have nice, high quality books.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a zip file that is full of PDFs of stuff that should have been released already, and it hasn't. So
there you go.
Too bad for those guys. Okay, so the next one comes from Patrick M. He says, "What is your favorite single issue comic book of all time?"
Here's mine right here. And this is Amazing Spider-Man 129. It's the first appearance of Punisher. Multiple reasons why. For one, it's my favorite character, Punisher. It's autographed by the creator, Jerry Conway, and it was a gift from my nephew as well. So it kind of covers all the bases as far as there's a meaning behind it, why I like the comic. I know the creator, I interviewed him and stuff like that, so it kind of checks every box. So that's my single favorite issue that I have.
Yeah, for me, it's the one that got me into it. Avengers 58, Even an Android Can Cry. How it touched me and made me realize that there was somebody out there who understood what I was going through as a kid. That feeling, I'll never forget it, and that always hold a very special place in my heart. So that's it.
There you
go. Next one comes from Patrick D. He says, "What comic series would you like to see made into a 60-minute TV show, and what comic series would flop as a TV show?"
So it's the same one.
All right.
The Scumbag. I would love to see that. The reason it flopped because people take it off the air. You got to get that stuff off there.
Right.
Because I don't know if you read that Scumbag book, but man, it gets pretty scumbaggy towards the end of that book and stuff like that. But I'm enjoying that series. I think it's a lot of fun. But I wouldn't mind seeing a 60-minute thing of that. So.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's already happening. Kanto is being made into a TV or movie property. We don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be on screen. I think it's going to be amazing. And what do I think would flop? Oh my gosh. Try Iron Fist again.
No, there
You
go.
know, I wish they could put a good Iron Fist out. I'm even skeptical about Moon Knight. I really hope they pull it off.
Yep, me
But
too.
We'll see what happens.
All right, this next question is perfect for you.
All right, so
It's a great question. It's great.
One question is, I have, where do you buy all the Shannon Mayer covers?
Now, this is from David P., by the way.
David P. Great question. There is no one place that you can buy all of his covers. There is a lot of places that sell the exclusive covers that still have stock that you can buy. You can go to eBay, which is probably where you're going to find most of them. But as far as a single source, I don't know. I think there's one out there. But I would say is that be on the hunt for those companies that do the exclusives like Scorpion, the Comic Mint. Look for those guys because they do Shannon's exclusives, and when they advertise them, you can find out when they're going to go on sale, and you can get them for the cheapest price rather than waiting for them to go on eBay where you're going to get gouged.
Yeah, and also follow Shannon on Facebook.
Yeah.
He will announce all those exclusive covers on Facebook and when they're coming out.
Yeah,
so that's
great
the easiest
point.
thing to do. That's what we've noticed. And then also he's got some regular covers coming out for Cult of Dracula that are just B covers that you should be able to get cover price or order at your comic shop. And also, I don't know if it came out yet, but Vampirella's
coming out.
or something like that. He's done a cover for them as well. So
Yeah.
they're regular covers that you can order through the shop. Should be able to order for cover price.
Absolutely.
The other ones exclusive, just follow him on Facebook. This is the best thing to do, and he will let you know like a few days before they're available. So
Absolutely. And we know that they're watching, so hi, Shannon and Becky.
hi, Shannon. Baker.
All right, so the next one comes from Collect with Josh. He says, are there any heroes that are written in similar vein to Spider-Man whose keys are a little more reasonable price-wise to collect? There's two questions. The first is, are there any heroes that are written in the similar vein to Spider-Man? Let's answer that one first.
Well, I have a few here, and I just wanted to show this. So, Spider-Man is a main character, okay? Iron Man is also a pretty main character of the Marvel Universe. Obviously, you guys know that. As far as, like, the keys that are in this run, there's only, like, two that are really out there as far as price. There's that one, and then there's 55 or 6 or whatever, the first Thanos. And that has come down quite a bit, because he's over, and that buzz has died down. This is a series that you can actually put together, a first couple hundred run and not break the bank and yet still have some really good quality titles. Like I said, the two standouts are the first one and then the first Thanos and whatever the other character is in that one as well. But anyway, I would say Iron Man.
Yeah, there you go. And are there any characters written in a similar vein to Spider-Man? Yeah, Miles Morales.
Jesus.
Okay. Next one comes from my buddy AI. He says, what do you guys think of the show Utopia? Absolutely loved it.
Well, I didn't watch it.
It's based on a comic book that's hard to find. It was written by this guy. He wrote this book called Dystopia.
Okay.
Right, and it basically predicted all of the world's diseases. Right, and so then he has this other title that he was supposed to write, but it was lost, and it was called Utopia, and it's found by these people who basically go into this guy's house. And
Is that the one with Rainn Wilson in it?
I think that's it.
I think isn't he in there? Or someone from The Office or something like that?
I don't remember Rainn.
I don't know.
I think you're right.
Sounds convoluted. I don't
It
know.
was so much fun.
Sure.
You'd like it.
Sure, I loved it. It's great.
This guy.
All right. Next one is from Raven Knight 1356. Question: if you had to give up all your comics and could only keep one, which would it be and why? I just showed it right here. Actually, the ASM 129. That's pretty easy. And you just said the
Avengers 58.
Avenger 58. So there you go.
My signed copy by Roy Thomas.
There you go. And mine's signed also by Jerry Conway. So
There you go.
Second question is, which one cover of comics would you say is the most legendary for the last 20 years? Now, the 20 years one kind of threw me for a loop because that's 2000 on up. I would say Detective Comics, I wrote that Jock one, 886 or whatever, is probably... All the other ones I looked at were before that kind of ring a bell, but that Jock one kind of stands out as far as something really special.
Yeah, for sure. Again, being put on the spot, legendary in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a tough question.
It is a tough
I had to
question.
look it up. So anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on there. You don't get a prize for that one, Bob.
Okay.
This next one is from John Claude Van Tom. Is there a book that you or Bob ever regret giving away for free? Yes. I gave away, and Bob knows this, many copies of Something That's Killing Children #1.
Yes, you did.
I was on it from months before it came out, okay? And I bought a bunch of them, and I literally put them out in Bueller boxes and gave them away. And I think you got one.
I did.
Yeah.
I got the variant cover.
Yeah.
By
prison?
Yeah.
I gave them all away.
You did.
I kept one. I have one. It's autographed by Tinian and stuff. It's the regular cover, but I literally probably had a dozen of them.
Yeah.
And I just really liked it, and I just ended up giving them out, and I, bought them for cover price. So they're not. But I was looking just the other day, and they're selling for like $400 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh well, it is what. Congratulations to those people who got them.
Yeah. For me, there's not a book I can think of that I regret giving, because 9 times out of 10, when I'm putting a book in somebody's hands, it's because I'm turning them on to comics.
Yeah.
And if that got them into comics, that's priceless. But most of the time when I give books away, it's I'm trying to bring joy to somebody, and for me to look at it from the other side of it, that would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of books out there that did raise in price, and it's just like, do I wish I had them back? Well, sure.
Yeah.
It
is what it is.
It is
man.
what it is.
What are you gonna do? Next one is from Sam O. It says, if you could spend your days doing anything other than comics, how would you spend your days?
What else is there? Just
well,
kidding.
I mean, okay. let's take the obligatory family stuff off the plate there. Oh, spend time with my family. Yeah, we all do that.
Right.
Let's just call it what it is. I'd just be hanging out with a bunch of ladies on the beach, like the Married to Children Al Bundy dream episode. That'd pretty much be what it is, driving down the freeway in a Mustang with the top down and about 3 or 4 bikini ladies sitting in the back. Woo! That's what I'd be doing.
That's great, man. I'd be traveling with my wife. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. That's the difference between being married and not married.
Exactly.
Right there, right? Good, safe answer there, Bob. Next one is from Tank84 Finn. Says, what comic book movie is your guilty pleasure? This is easy because I just watched it the other day again.
What's that?
Howard the Duck.
That's your guilty pleasure?
I love that movie.
It's
for what it is, Howard looks awesome.
Yeah.
And he makes out with a woman, the girl from back to whatever her name is or whatnot. But they're literally making out together, like some duck and a regular woman and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the special effects aren't bad either. And it's got the Shawshank guy in there as well.
That's right. He did Tim Robbins, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great movie.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. I love the old Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah.
So
you can't have that. You're not going to get a comic for that. You got to come up with something better.
I got to come up with something better.
Yeah, come on.
But the problem with me is my guilty pleasure is I watch them all still over and over.
Definitely not getting this comic then. For that
All
one.
right.
Maybe next time.
You know how many times I've watched the original Iron Man movie?
There you go. Joe, this one is from Joe E. Says, Bueller, what did you do for a living prior to doing your videos? Well, my main thing was I worked in the video game industry. I worked for Software Etc. at GameStop for about 10 years. And then I worked for Microsoft for a couple years as well. And we actually did testing on the Xbox One and a whole bunch of product information on that and stuff like that. So kind of, if I had to put myself in as far as a career, that was probably in the video game industry. So
interesting. That's awesome, dude.
And for you, it said Bob says, how did you become a pastor?
So that wasn't something that was on my radar. I got off the streets from doing drugs and alcohol by turning my life back over to Jesus, and what ended up happening is through my recovery, I started to learn what it meant to navigate the heart.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I found a very distinct gifting that I have, which is to basically ask the right questions to help people get down to what's going on in their heart. And so after helping people out that way, a number of people started coming up to me and said, why are you not a pastor?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, it's because I never, that wasn't on my radar to go that way. I didn't even think about being a pastor. And so anyway, this guy sat me down and he said, I really think that this is what you should be doing. And there was one day we were sitting inside a church and there was a sermon about a calling, and it hit me really hard. And that's the day I knew I was being called into it, and so I stepped into it, and it's just been amazing ever since.
There you go. I went a different route, obviously. $19.99 plus tax. 15 minutes.
I had to go through a lot of schooling.
Yeah. Anyway, you get a book for that.
Thank you.
There you go. Courtesy of Gerald Wallace again.
Hey, Gerald.
There you
what
go.
You got here? Oh, man. Gerald's just give me the Daredevil goodness. Look at this. Daredevil and Black Widow, issue number 102. This is from the Jerry Conway run. Dude, Gerald, thank you very much. Stiltman, baby.
There you go.
Come on.
Look at you.
Dude, you're awesome, bro.
Anything for me?
He sent them to you.
Actually, Gerald did send me some books. I'm going to show those next week. So
all right.
Right now, it's all about Bob. This next one is from Star Wars Fiend. He said, what made you guys passionate about comics? What made you decide comics over any other hobby? Number 2, why do you think we have all the craze around Marvel and Marvel spec lately? I mean, I understand the shows and Disney Plus, etc., but DC, I feel, has a good CW environment, like The Flash, Lois and Clark, and Stargirl was amazing, with the JBA to me and the Swamp Thing. The HBO Max is huge for them, and I don't understand the lack of love for them in the market or in general. I was wondering if you all have any opinions or thoughts. So he's basically just comparing the Hollywood effect of Marvel compared to what the Hollywood effect of DC is. And it's a really good question, because I don't know why. I mentioned that before. Why does the CW shows not do anything in the comics? Why does King Shark, the Shark, whatever it was, which was in the Flash TV show, doesn't make anything special, but there's a shark in the Suicide Squad movie, and it's all of a sudden that pops.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you really look at it, the when it comes to TV, how much the episodes cost to make, they're minimal compared to to the movies. And as far as the actual revenue that's made off of those shows, it's also minimal. The CW shows are geared towards a certain audience, and so it really doesn't hit the wider comic audience like you think it would. Yeah. And there's also a stigma about CW shows being, for just teenagers or that kind of age group.
They are all pretty good-looking people that are in those shows.
Right, and they can be a little campy, right?
Yeah.
On top of it as well.
Is there such a thing as an unattractive person on the CW network?
Probably not. But they don't get the same amount of love or revenue that you will see inside of movies. Now, when you compare Warner Brother movies to what they got going on inside of the MCU, you can just look at how much each of the Marvel movies has made compared to what the Warner Brothers movies have made, and you'll see that there's a huge disparity there, and there's a reason for that. Yeah.
You're right. There is a huge disparity, but they're still making billions of dollars each. It's like, oh, we only made $1 billion. You made $2 billion. You still made $1 billion.
This is true.
And that's what I think that gets lost a lot. It's like, oh, they're more popular or whatnot. They're both popular, and yeah, Marvel stuff is more popular as far as movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what did I just look at? See, I was like looking at for franchises and stuff, and I looked them up and like who had the number one franchise as far as Hollywood. Okay, like number 1 is the Marvel franchise. Mm-hmm. And then, like, number 4 is the DC franchise. It's billions and billions of dollars.
Right, but when you say number 4, that's a huge step down in billions.
I mean,
than it is from.
It is and it isn't. It is. It's like it is, but it's still enormously popular.
No, don't get me wrong.
Enormously popular. It's still like the number 4 in the history of the world as far as franchises. So it's not like. It's like, oh, sucks to be number 4. It's like pretty cool to be number 4,
Yeah, and to be fair as well, this has to do with the fans needing to be smarter, right? When you have critics and naysayers coming in and throwing shade on the DC movies, that does something to the way people look at it and the way people buy, right? It's like, okay, we all went to go see this movie. It made $363 million, but because of the naysayers and the critics, throwing shade on it, it's not as appealing to go out and buy, stuff from it. And I don't like that about when it comes to the DC movies, because they did a lot better than most people give them credit for.
Yeah.
And so.
All right, moving on. I don't want to talk about that.
All right.
This is from James J. Says, Bob, What's your favorite lesser-known Daredevil story or run? And Bueller, what's your favorite Punisher story or run? Bob, go ahead.
In the 90s, you had the Carl Kessel run, where he did the run with Kerry Nord. It's one of the unsung heroes inside of all the Daredevil runs. There's a great Mr. Hyde storyline where he's in court. It was a really good mini run there. And it's overshadowed by everything that was going on inside of the 90s. So that's one of the unsung heroes there.
I'm going to talk about a run that I haven't read, and I've heard a lot about. And it's during the time when I didn't collect this, the Garth Ennis run of Punisher.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard it's really good, and I just have never got around to getting those books and getting caught up on that. And so that is, from all the stories I've read of the Punisher, I've enjoyed a lot of them. But that's one run that I missed out and want to read. And I think I have a couple trades of it, so I got to just sit back and read and enjoy it.
Get into it. Yeah. Cool.
I don't want to read the one where he turns into Frankenstein.
No.
Okay. This next one is from Johnston F. He says, what do you think will happen to Kim Wexler and Nacho next season if it is the last season cool t-shirt? That's a reference to the Better Call Saul characters.
Oh.
Just so you guys know. I haven't actually watched the last season, so I really don't know.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So
I'm behind.
I'm behind, yeah, because I usually wait for those, because I don't have AMC or cable, so I usually wait till they hit
Netflix
or something.
And then binge them, yeah.
There you go. This next one is from Aquilo S. He said, this is a special comment. Let me just read this real quick. This comment was a very long comment about comics and collecting and feeling pressure by other channels to sell books to make a quick buck. And this is, like I said, from Aquilio S. And I just wanted to, I'm not reading the comment, you guys can go check it out. But there was a really long comment and stuff like that. But I understand what he's saying, because he's collecting comics. He sees all this saying, flip these books for a quick buck or whatnot. But he's kind of torn between, I really enjoy comics and reading them and just having them. And I want to say to you, most people don't sell your books. Most people don't sell books.
Yeah.
80% of the people don't sell books. So if you're having a hard time thinking, should I sell them because I'm hearing this? Don't do it. Honestly, most people do not sell their books.
Yeah.
Most people will say they will sell their books, and they never actually do. Enjoy them. Just enjoy them. Just sit back and enjoy them. If you need to sell to make some money because that's a source of income that you need to pay a bill, that's a different story, okay? But if you just want to enjoy them, just enjoy them. Don't feel pressure to sell your books.
Absolutely.
Like I said, most people do not sell books. Even though you see them all over the place, it's not a large part of the community that sells. Right. It is a part of it, but it's not most people.
For sure.
This next one here is for KC. It says, what are two of your and Bob's favorite comics in your personal collection? An old one and a new one. My new one I really enjoy is Shadow Doctor. I think that's one's really special. As far as an older book, this is actually one of my favorite covers of all time. This G.I. Joe one. I just grabbed some of the books I wanted to show. I always loved G.I. Joe, and I always love that cover. Two of my favorite characters, as far as overall characters from anything, are Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. And to see them together fighting beside each other was always really cool to have. So those are just a couple books off the top of my head. I mean, I have other favorites, but I've talked about them in the past. So
sure. For older books, one of my favorite is, I've said this on the show before, is Iron Man number 150, which is the Doom Quest storyline where Dr. Doom and Iron Man go back to the time of Camelot and where all the knights and stuff are there. I thought that was a phenomenal story.
Sure.
Still one of my favorite. I go back and read all the time. As far as newer comics, as far as being special, Kanto. Can't get away from it.
You don't get nothing from
Oh, great. But truly, when it comes to special, there's been things that people have done for both you and I.
Yeah.
And I think both of us hold those as the most special.
Here's a perfect example.
Exactly.
This was sent to me by God Tank. Custom drew that for me. Something like that. It was awesome. I showed this on Instagram on my other video and stuff like that. He's done some stuff for you, but the personal gifts that I get, those always have a special place. So
I mean, every once in a while, people just do something, out of the kindness of their heart. Jason from Heroes to Icons, he did a sketch cover of Bullseye, Daredevil, Elektra, and Kingpin. Their faces on a blank cover for Daredevil, and I love it.
The stuff that Logan sent us.
Yeah, exactly.
This is awesome. Very cool. This is from Tad. He says, my favorite villains are the Joker and Bullseye. What are some of yours? Craven has always been one of my favorites. I think you just answered it, but do you have another one?
Yeah, I mean, I love Gorilla Grodd.
There you go, that's right.
You know, and I do love Reverse Flash. You know,
He runs backwards.
he does.
He doesn't. I always say that.
And you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like I love Bullseye.
Yeah.
I think he an amazing villain.
Yeah.
Dr. Doom, of course, and who doesn't love the Joker?
Yeah. There you go. This next one is from ZMA. He says, how do you feel about the industry today? 1 in 250 copies of books, incentives, and second printings. I'm just worried all the spec variants and, hey, this character showed up for 2 seconds on the show. Now you must hoard all of their appearances. Maybe it's always been like this, but now it's just more noticeable. He's right. It's very much more noticeable because everyone and their uncle is telling you about it.
Right.
I mean, that's all, you know. You watch YouTube on the comic stuff, and that's 90% of the stuff that's out there is like, expect this, get this, get that.
Right.
Know?
And you know,
It's
really,
crazy.
Truthfully, if people weren't out there telling you about that stuff, would you be going out and getting it?
Exactly.
Right. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you wouldn't be.
Yeah. It's just there's so much talk about it and stuff. I think that's kind of the case. As far as the industry today, we just did a video last time.
Yeah.
Talking about how we feel it's awesome right now. It's exploding. It's awesome to be part of it. So anyway, I think we're both in agreement on that. I think there's just a lot of talk and stuff. I mean, seriously, there's a reason I stopped doing those type of videos.
Yeah. Because
there's so much of that stuff out there, and that's just like it just floods the market.
Yeah, for sure. So. I don't think I even watch very many of those videos anymore.
Next one is from Jeff E. Says, what keeps you both into reading comics the most? For me, it's just the brand new storylines. Independent books really does it for me. I mean, it's not even close anymore. I mean, I preached this for a while. It's like 95% of my pull list is independent stuff now. Yeah.
And the same with me. It's just good story writing. I mean, Marvel and DC does have some good story. I mean, the Daredevil storyline, just because it's my favorite character, that's one thing. But Chip Zdarsky is really writing a great story.
There you go.
And you know, but truly, you're going to find more of that inside the independent books right now. And I think we're both in agreement on that.
Exactly. Next one is from Stoutman. The Stoutman, he says, if you have to get rid of your collection besides one run, what one would you be keeping? I know that Bob's answer would be Kanto or Daredevil. Mine would be X-Men. X-Men, that's the one I actually have quite a few of, and that's one that's very special to me. So X-Men would be my run. Am I wrong, Daredevil?
Yeah, I mean, if you take Daredevil, out of the equation, it would be Batman for me.
Batman.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Batman or the Flash. I have to flip a coin on that.
There you go. Next one is from Adam Yu. It says, question, what comic series did you enjoy that is not valued as a hot book series? Punisher War Journal. Punisher War Journal for me, none of those books are more than like $5. The whole run. I mean, here's one of my favorite things right there. Wolverine and Punisher fighting each other. Issue 6 and 7. Loved it. The Jim Lee doing artwork and stuff. Very affordable series. You can pick up number 1 for like less than $10. Love that run.
Yeah, for me, it's about the 1 through 50 of Wolverine. You can still get those very easily.
Very easily.
And I love all those Silvestri covers, and I mean, I enjoy the reading.
There you go. All right, Bob, you're up next for your page there. Go ahead.
All right. First one comes from Stephen M. He says, do you enjoy the smell of a comic as much as I do? That's first party. And then he says, could you tell from the smell alone the decade of the comic?
Okay, so let's talk about the stinky box you gave me. All right.
That's a different situation.
So he's like, dude, I got some comics for you to give you your beauty boxes.
Uh-huh.
And he brings over this long box of books, and they all smell like ass. You couldn't smell that?
I didn't, because when I was there, it was in an open air awning.
Oh yeah.
And then
it wasn't enclosed.
It wasn't, and this guy had like 50 long boxes that he was basically selling for $50 a long box.
Yeah.
And so I thought, man, just great bulk. A lot of it was a bunch of 90s stuff.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I rifled through it, picked a bunch of stuff that I want out of it, and I brought the rest over here. I was like, great, you put them in the Bueller boxes.
Yeah, stinky Bueller boxes.
I didn't know it was stinky, man.
I still have the box in my spare room.
Are you serious?
I'll open it up and you can take a whiff.
That's all right. I think I'll pass.
I think I went through and I It was the bags for the most part.
Okay.
And I went through and took out some of the bags, and for some of the books I would actually probably send out. There's a lot of them I wouldn't send out and stuff like that because they were just too stinky, even without the bags. Anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what they were from. But,
I couldn't tell what age they were from, but that old comic smell, Jeff, he may be able to tell you.
Yes. There you go.
All right, next one comes from Scott T. Bob, what's your advice on securing a Daredevil #1 at a good price? You know, Scott, I don't know because I don't have Daredevil #1. But I would say that I would start on the low end. You can get a 0.5 or a 0.1. Try to find one that presents well. And then once you have that, you can start building up from there to try to get yourself a better copy later on. Yeah. But that's what I'm doing right now as I'm trying to work my way up to that #1. I'm almost there.
There you go. I just buy a facsimile.
There you go.
$4.
$4, man. All right, next one comes from Tim S. About how much do you spend a week on comics and do you budget?
All right. Why don't you tell me your answer and I'll tell you if you're lying.
I spend about $50 to $100 every week on comics.
That's about right.
Yeah, yeah, it depends. So, you know, on what's out that week. But about 50 to 100.
I spend probably about 25. I don't spend very much. 25, 30 maybe.
Yeah.
So not that much. Sometimes less. Last few, except for last week, last few weeks have been less than 20. So
yeah.
Anyway.
It's been a couple slim weeks.
Yeah, there you go. I'll tell you if you're wrong. I'll tell you if you're lying.
Well, you've watched.
I've watched. I'm like, Jesus, look at that bottle.
All right, next one comes from Dino C. He says it's about 25 years since DC versus Marvel event. What matchup would you want to see if they did a new one?
Here's the thing. Think about new characters in 25 years. There's not a tremendous amount that I'm like, really into, you know, as far as I would like to see them go against a DC character or vice versa. So the characters I've seen go up against each other, they've already done it. I've already seen them battle DC characters because they did do some crossover events.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to pick, to be totally honest. Because maybe Venom, I wouldn't mind seeing Venom go up against, Lobo or something like that.
Right.
Let's go with something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see Bullseye go up against Deathstroke.
There you go.
You know, something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same character.
Bullseye against Deadshot, you know.
Classic man, Mr. Fantastic.
There you go.
Tie himself in a knot.
All right, the next one is from Joe S. He says, I'm always shocked by how many shots are in Bob's coffee. How can I build up my caffeine tolerance?
Dude.
Well, for me, I mean, normally I drink. What?
Go.
Normally I drink, anywhere between 1 to 2 pots a day. If I really looked at it, and there are times where it's like I know I'm going to be on the road for a while, and so I'm going to have to pretty much get something now that's going to hold me over.
Sure.
And so grabbing 6 shots is nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Isn't that what everybody else does?
Yeah, that's exactly. Jesus, no.
All right, man.
All right.
I like coffee. Okay?
I know you do, man. You're on a damn show about it.
All right. Michael H. says, which title have you collected the longest, and why does it continue to be a mainstay in your collection?
Well, I think Daredevil is yours, probably.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason why it's a mainstay is because the things that Matt goes through, usually I can connect with it on a heart level. Maybe not the things, specific things, but how he's going through it, how he's resolving it. I've always been intrigued with the character. And then, of course, his faith.
Yeah.
So.
I'd have to say Spawn for me because it's still an ongoing title. It's still literally back in the 90s when it started. It's still going to this day.
Yeah. And
it hasn't splintered or did a volume 2 or whatever it is or legacy numbering. It's the regular numbering. So that attracts me to that book. So, I mean, even, you look at Batman, or Detective Comics. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did different volumes or whatnot along the way. And then it went back to the legacy numbering. Same with Flash and Wonder Woman. It's just not the same. So.
Yeah, I understand why they did it, but I've always hated that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one comes from AI. He says, when are you guys going to open an online comic shop?
Well, I don't know. If I knew how to do that stuff, I'd probably do it, but I don't know how to. I've reached out to some people, and they've reached out to me to help me, and it just, unfortunately, just kind of got put on the back burner. Mm-hmm. Maybe eventually someday I look into doing that. but I don't know. It's not really a priority.
Yeah, I think I'd have to have the inventory for an online comic shop, and I think it would take a while to build up an inventory that would be able to be replenished on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest issue. Otherwise, I'd probably pull the
And
trigger.
you just need time to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's about the time and effort that goes on. I mean, Bob's a busy guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be on the road and stuff like that. So really, does that work? Taking on that project? Probably not.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Next one comes from Emily K. She says, "How do y'all really feel about variants?"
I have a love-hate relationship with variants, and I love them. Some are just amazing looking. The hate part is the amount. And this is you're talking to a guy that literally makes a video showing every one of them, or trying to show as many as I possibly can. And every week, I've been doing that for 3 years. So if you're going to talk to someone about variants, I know a thing or two, okay? Because I've been making this video forever, and when I see 50 different variants for Eternals, I'm like, give me a break. You know, it's frustrating. When I see 5 variants, you know, I'm like, okay, I can handle that. I've noticed lately Boom Studios has been doing a lot of variants.
They have.
And they're kind of going the route of Marvel. I'll just say it. You know, I love Boom. But, man, they are putting out a bunch of variants.
They are.
And stuff. That's a little like, I don't know what they're... I don't know if that... it just seems to go against their original business model they set a couple years ago. So, I don't know, to be honest. But I love-hate relationship. Like I said, you know, I'm making my own variants now and stuff, and I really enjoy them. And I'm trying to do them on projects that don't have variants. Or have very few, like one, you know, not a project that has 50 different variants and stuff, and I just get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to do something special like BLOWTORCH, to where there's literally only one person doing the variant for it, and that's me. And so I think that's kind of cool, you know. And the same thing with like Knock 'em Dead. I was the only one who did a variant for it. You know, I kind of like that aspect. So anyway, it's just it's a give and take relationship. I think there's way too many. As far as for a single individual title. But I think there is a market for it. My main thing is when it gets past, let's just say 20. And it's funny because when you just say 20, that's still so many, know, but let's just say 20 on a big #1 release. Okay, we're good, you know, but anytime you get past, it just gets crazy.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest.
I agree. 100%. And, you know, I like it when it works in my favor. You know, because of the hot cover that I just absolutely love that I have to buy. But, you know, when there's 2,500, you know, scrolling down the screen, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I say one cover is all you need. I just say that because when you read a book, you don't care about the cover.
It's true.
And that's really all you need. You only need one cover.
Right.
You only need one cover to read a book. You don't need 10 covers to read a book.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you want to collect the book, you can get the different covers or whatnot. But really, when I say one is all you need, I mean, like, yeah, when you buy this book to read the book, it doesn't matter what cover it is.
Yeah.
Just buy the book and read it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, my favorite thing about all the variant covers is, you know, in my little Bob cave where I film, I got those, you know, comic cover cases, you know, and I get to show them off.
Yeah.
Other than that, they'd be just sitting inside of boxes.
There you go.
You know, and I love to display them. So if I didn't have that, would I buy them as much? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next one comes from Carlvin K. He says, "Who are your top 3 comic book artist and writer?"
I'm just going to name 3 creators. Stan Lee, Tom McFarlane, and, you know, we'll throw Rob Liefeld in there just for olive branch.
There you go. I'm going to go Jim Lee, Ed Brubaker,
okay,
and David Boer.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Kissing up, aren't you?
All right. Let's see. This one comes from Dascott. He says, "Have you ever purchased a blank sketch cover? And if so, what did you do with it?"
Perfect. I got it right here. This is what I do when I buy blank covers. Whenever I go somewhere like a con or out of town, I take a blank cover, and whenever I run into someone who is a fan or has watched the show who, you know, comes up to me and says hello, I get their autograph. And this is a perfect example of when I went to Florida. All the people I met in Florida that watched the show, I had them autograph that for me.
That's awesome.
So that's what I do with blank covers and stuff. I actually took a blank cover with me to Albuquerque, New Mexico last week, but I didn't go anywhere. So it's still blank. So, I mean, it was like the Something Killing the Children one with the
cool.
red blood and stuff. But I didn't end up going anywhere. I just hung out with my daughter.
Yeah.
So, She didn't want to sign it. So. That's what I do.
Mine is not as cool as that. Usually when I buy a blank cover, it's because I'm going to have somebody do a commission piece on it.
Yeah.
Or I'm saving a few of them to hopefully get some artists to draw on them.
Sure.
And I got a few of them that I got saved especially for that. So
there you go.
Okay, next one comes from Paulo R. He says, "What's your favorite non-DC/Marvel series?"
Spawn.
Kanto.
You know what? I'll just do it. What the hell? You get a book. You get
right.
Red Sonja, the Superpowers, #1 Comic Tom exclusive.
Well, look at that. Comic Tom, thank you very much.
Courtesy of Comic Tom.
That's pretty awesome.
There
Thank
you go.
you.
Look at you, just getting books.
You're getting books.
Ridiculous. Still nothing for me over there. So. All right.
I give you stuff all the time.
Sure.
All right. Next one. Next one comes from Ricardo C. He says, "My question for you is, are you ever going to get any of your Punisher books slabbed?"
No.
There you go.
I don't have any desire to do that still to this
All right. And I've already got the one Punisher book I wanted slabbed. I got it done because it's got Bullseye on the cover.
There you
go. Next one comes from Leo P. He says, "Who are your favorite artist and writer combo?"
The combo that worked together would be Claremont and Lee.
Yeah, Claremont and Lee was a good one. I think in recent years, I've always loved Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I think they're a great team. Let's see. Next one comes from Concetto D. He says, "Great video, Bueller. What's your favorite coffee and barista?"
Favorite coffee is Mocha Express. Favorite barista, it has to be my daughter. She worked there for a small period of time, and I'd go in there every day and get a coffee. She'd make it for me, and it was great.
There you go.
There you go. Second barista would be the owner, Maher.
There we go. Next one comes from Michael M. He says, "My question is, do you sell any of your extra copies? And if you do, where?"
Not really. I don't really sell books. I mean, except for like my exclusive variants, and I was doing Bueller boxes for a while. I haven't done those for quite some time. I mean, 6-7 months, maybe a year, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So no, I really don't sell too much stuff except for my exclusives, and that's about it. What about you, Bob?
I haven't done much selling of late. I think the last thing I sold was a few weeks ago. I advertised on Instagram a couple of copies of Daredevil with the character Echo in them, and I was able to sell them pretty quick for a good price.
Look at you, making money.
Making money.
There you go.
Okay, next one comes from Junior H. Question for Bob. Was it hard to make the move to Oregon, and do you miss L.A.? It was not hard to move to Oregon because my my two youngest kids were up here, and I can't stand being more than 2 feet away from my kids. So it was not even a question for me.
There you go.
And do I miss L.A.? Truthfully, no, I don't.
Okay.
All right. I could give you stories behind that, but really,
we don't need to know.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I'll tell you what, Oregon coming up here, there's some places you can go to up here that absolutely will inspire the heart, and I love it here. Yeah. Last one on this page is Robin S. It says, "How many variant covers does it take to make a profit on a book?"
I read that and I was like, it's weird to say profit because every book is sold before it's shipped out now. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it works. The comic shops place their orders. They already get the money. They're already sold. Okay, right. It's not vice. They don't print and try to sell to comic shops. They place the order, so all the books are already sold, and that's how they go by volume sold. They don't actually go by volume sold in the store, like how many of the stores sold. They just go by how many the stores purchased through the publisher and stuff like that. So as far as profit, they're already sold before they were printed. If that makes any sense.
Right.
So anyway, that's kind of
so they're pretty much not going to take a loss on a book.
Yeah.
Right. So they're basically selling it to the end user, to the comic shops at a wholesale price. They've already taken their piece off of it. That they make profit, and they allow you to make profit on the rest.
There you go.
So
yeah, that's good. When you get in their comic, and this one's for me. Giant size jiggles.
Giant size jiggles. Look at that, y'all. Thank you, dude. I'll take that home to my wife.
There you go. She'll love it.
Appreciate it, bro.
There you go. I got one more present here.
Giant size jiggles. Where'd you get this, bro?
I don't know. I just found it. I got one more present here for you. It'll come up in a little bit. But this is a nice present. This is actually something I got for you from Albuquerque. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
You're gonna wait. You gotta wait. Depends on how you answer.
Okay. You got the next page.
Yes. This is last page. Jeff B says Airwolf or Blue Thunder.
I I gotta go Airwolf.
I gotta go Blue Thunder, man.
Really?
I love Blue Thunder. That movie was
Well,
awesome.
Airwolf was a series, right?
Airwolf was a series.
And Blue Thunder was the movie. Was
the
Roy
movie.
Scheider, right?
I don't remember.
It was with Roy Scheider.
It had a helicopter in it. That's all I said.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if they... I don't know which came before.
I think Blue Thunder came before.
Probably.
Yeah.
Pad Bear J is the next. Says, what is the strangest or worst experience you have ever had at a comic shop? Well, I mean, I've actually told these stories before about comic shops, and you know, I had a comic shop owner take something out of my box and give it to another customer, and then he couldn't even replace it, even though I was going to come back in later that day and buy it. He took it out of my box. I had ordered it, and he gave it to another customer right in front of me, and he said, they want it. They're paying it right now. So that happened. You know the story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's more to it than that, but I'm just summarizing.
Yeah. I think the weirdest experience I've ever had at a comic shop was, I know of a comic shop owner that basically set his comic shop on fire.
Yeah.
And when the news media came, he actually cried, right, to put on a show. And even though the people who knew him best knew he set that place on fire, it was the weirdest thing in the world, man. Yeah. And I'll never forget it.
There you go. A couple stories there.
There you go.
Keith M. said, who is your favorite mainstream character, Marvel or DC? Mine's Punisher. Bob's would be Kanto and Daredevil.
That's right.
There you go. Easy as that?
Easy as that.
Okay. Next one is from Punk Scraps Comics. Question for Bueller and Bob. If you could spend $1,000 on comics, would you A, purchase a major key or grail, or B, purchase a short box of minor keys or just stuff you enjoy? If I had $1,000 just earmarked for, and we did a video about $2,500, and I know you could get this because at the time it probably got up to this, but I could get a low grade copy of Giant Size X-Men, like a 1.5, for like $900.
Yeah,
that's probably what I do because it's a book I've always wanted.
Yeah,
so either that or the first appearance of Thanos. That's another book. So if I had that $1,000 earmarked, I'd buy one of those.
Yeah. For me, it'd be the same thing. It'd be a large key. I'd probably get Daredevil #1.
There you go.
Because that runs about $1,200 right now for 0.5.
Yeah.
So.
Next one is Twitch13MP says, what are your top 5 video games of all time?
Oh, that's a good one. Good.
You want me to go?
Go for it.
Fallout 3 is one of my favorites. Destiny 1 or 2, either one. Awesome game. WWE or F No Mercy and Nintendo 64. Another one would be NBA 2K series. I've always been a fan of those. And probably Skyrim would be the next one. So those are my 5.
There you go. One for me would be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Nice.
Another one would be the original Super Mario Brothers for the Super Nintendo. I thought that was amazing. Might Magic 3. Absolutely loved. And then going forward after that, I would probably say, gosh, I just went blank. For sure, the latest one is Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. I absolutely love that game, and I'll say Fallout 3.
There you go. Good choice. Mr. Rock and Roll says Space Bastards. Bueller Bob. Was it good? It's good.
I haven't read it yet.
Okay, I like it. It's good. Dan O'Connor says, why chalupas?
Why not chalupas?
Why not chalupas? Actually, you want to know the story about chalupas?
What's that?
We had a Blazer game, me and the kids years ago, and they scored 100 points. And if you scored 100 points, you got a free coupon for a free chalupa at Taco Bell. And so we all got coupons. And so we went to Taco Bell, and we each got a chalupa. I think it was the first time we had gotten a chalupa. We all loved it.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Blazers, for scoring 100 points.
My only problem with chalupas is this, right? Because I love chalupas, right?
Yeah, you do.
But the original chalupas were better than the chalupas that you have now.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Next one is from Willie P. We're almost done. It says, my friends and family always say, when you get older, I'll be worth a lot of money. Honestly, I don't care. I won't ever sell my books. They are with me through my worst, and I even sold personal items, LOL, but never my comics. I don't care. I guess I want to ask if you and Bob feel the same. Will you sell? Because I wouldn't. Like I said earlier, most people don't sell their books. They hold on to them because they're personal treasures or whatnot. They don't want to get rid of them. I don't want to really get rid of my books. I will downsize, but I'd much rather give my books to a friend or to someone, pass it on or something like that, And yeah, I think we're in the same boat, Willie, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of books that I have in my collection right now, just from collecting, new comics as they come out. And I would say, for the most part, I don't feel emotionally tied to them like I do some of the grails and stuff from the past. And so when it comes to actual collecting, there are certain books that I will keep in my PC. But for the most part, everything that I have there now is, up for grabs. And yeah, I mean, I don't have the same feeling I used to having a whole bunch of books. Now there's a select few that I want personally that I don't ever want to leave me. And the rest of them are, I can definitely sell.
There you go. All right. This next one is from DC Dude. Mm-hmm. Says, after the latest episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, how do you feel about politics in your books now? The speech that Falcon gives after the major conflict is resolved is very much about our society and problems going on in the world today. I know on the last episode of Everything Comics, Bob tossed an issue of Home. You did a review of that, right?
Yeah.
Why I'm at it, if politics should be out, what about religion? You both rock. We don't always have to agree. But the discussion should always be flowing, I think. Okay, so I watched that episode, and, I'm an adult, and I just saw it for entertainment, okay? Mm-hmm. And sure, I mean, is he making a statement about stuff? Yeah, and it just is what it is, but I can difference that between when I go and cast my vote. And whether it's mentioned something in the comic book or on a TV show, or if it's a politician that I listen to and research before I go and cast my vote, the TV shows and the comic books really don't have any say in what I decide, okay? Because they just are what they are, and it doesn't really affect me that much. The views are going to be shared no matter what it is, it doesn't matter, okay? But it's your view that you have to count on. And whatever you decide, how you feel, that's where your heart follows. And like you said, we don't have to agree on everything.
No.
And a lot of times we don't. And that's what makes, living wonderful. Because we don't have to agree with each other. And we just, you can see things for what they are, or you can see things for just enjoy what that is. And I know what he's talking about as far as that comment, or his speech at the end and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was a little heavy, and I get it. But I also just enjoyed watching the show. Mm-hmm. And that didn't take away anything from the show for me, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've received a lot of comments because of my review on Home.
I didn't see that. I watched part of that video, then I saw some comments. Did you get some heat?
I got a little bit of heat.
Good
right?
for you.
Because
Now, real quick, that Home book, I haven't read it. Okay, mm-hmm. But obviously I can just tell by the cover what that's about.
Right?
Am I wrong?
Nope.
Okay. Then I think we're all on the same page. I mean, it's pretty much, I know before I even buy it, probably what that book's about.
Right.
Okay.
And I mean, basically the whole beginning of the book, except for the last 2 pages, is about just one narrative about mm-hmm. that, sure. Political conversation. For me, I don't normally try to let my personal opinion get in the way of, my reviews and all that type of stuff. I am sick of politics right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't need somebody, trying to shove just what they think down my throat in the way that it was done.
Yeah.
Right. Again, when it comes to that particular issue, I look at the bigger picture, and it's a much more complicated issue than just that one thing.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong.
But you knew going into that book what it was. I mean, like I said,
I didn't know how much of it I was going to get.
I was pretty confident what it was.
Right. And it just, I don't know.
It would be one thing if it was a Daredevil book and all of a sudden the narrative turned to what that book was. Okay?
True. I mean,
to where this book is literally called Home.
Right.
And it's got, you can tell by the cover, okay, this is pretty much what this is about.
Right.
Okay, so it's not like it's sneaking up on you.
True, but again, I didn't know just how much I was going to get.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm looking for a comic book entertainment, right? And so I just didn't want it, and it made me angry because I wanted to enjoy the comic. I really wanted to enjoy it. And so I did a thing where I threw the comic book because I don't want that type of...
You threw it?
I did.
Like I threw Kanto earlier?
Exactly.
I didn't see that part.
And there are some people that got upset about it. And so for those people, I don't mean to offend anybody. I really don't. And to tell you the truth, what happened at the end of Falcon the Winter Soldier was different for me. I liked that speech by Sam because it really didn't have to do with taking one side or other in the equation. It was about understanding what's going on and then putting the onus on the politicians to be more responsible with their choices, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's funny in Home, I didn't like it because it was just
I gotta go back and watch this.
one piece of the narrative, and that's not the whole equation.
Sure.
Right. And then also with Sam, I didn't mind it. So, but again, really, guys, when it comes down to it, when this stuff comes up in books, to me, it just depends on how it's presented. There's a lot of religious stuff that I throw out the window,
Sure.
right? Because it's based not on fact.
Yeah.
But like inside of Daredevil, it does get into his faith. I enjoy that. But not all religious stuff being there, I don't know, maybe it just comes down to a personal preference.
Right.
But I did not like what happened in Home. I was okay with Winter Soldier.
Okay, cool. Well, I hope your home gets a little bit better.
Thank you.
Maybe this will help you. You got a little treat here for you, buddy.
What'd you do, man?
There you go. This is a little gift from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, dude. If Walter White as Freisenberg from Breaking Bad, Mr. Potato Head. Dude, this is awesome.
Look at the bag. Look on
the Breaking Bad store.
There you go.
This is awesome, dude.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Thank you so much. This is going up on the Wall of Fame, man.
I figured it would.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for thinking of me while you were out there.
You're more than welcome, buddy.
Appreciate you, bro. Man, I love you, dude.
All right. Get my present yet?
Give me some time, man.
Okay, whatever. Okay, well, there you go. I don't got nothing more for you. But I got one last question here.
All right.
And this is from Ricardo. It says, why do you want Spawn to be the most popular comic? Probably going to get hate for this, but I think most stuff coming out from Image is overrated. But I'd like to know your opinion and reason. Okay. I love the question, and I will tell you why. I want Spawn to be the #1 selling comic because for one, I like the character, okay? But that's really not the reason. My reason is it's a $2.99 comic. And I want to send a message to Marvel and DC, who these people are raising the prices, that you can sell a comic for $2.99 and still make money.
Yeah.
Because Todd McFarlane is making money selling his comic. It's more popular than it's been in quite some time. It's creeping up the sales chart. It's a mainline comic, and it's only $2.99. It's like the most, Spawn is right up there in the top 20 popular characters.
And he didn't have to cut down on quality on it either.
Exactly. The quality of the book is great. The writing is good. The paper quality, all that stuff is good. It's a $2.99 comic. We need to send a message. I'm telling you guys right now, go to your comic shop, put Spawn on your pull list. For one, I think you're going to like it because it's a good series right now. And make that message sent. Say, oh my God, 2 months from now, Spawn is the #1 selling comic book in the world. Perfect. Marvel and DC was like, wonder what the difference is. Well, it's pretty easy. It's 25% less than what you're charging for your books, or 30 or 40% less than what you're charging for your books. And I want to send a message, and I want to say that to these bigger publishers, like, hey man, your price gouging us is getting out of control. It can be done at a lower price point, and you can make money, and your investors will be happy as well. So there you go. That's my reasoning.
Very good reason.
All right. You know what? That was all of it.
Wow.
That was all like 110 questions, whatever it was. I told you we were going to do it all.
I enjoy doing these.
Yeah, I really like doing these as well. And you know what? We're going to do these every 3 to 4 months. That's kind of what our plan is on doing. The last one we did was about, 102 days ago, the last time we did it. And there was a lot of great questions here that I don't think we answered before. And so I like the opportunity to answer them, or the new ones, and maybe some of the older ones as well.
Sure.
And enjoy just rewarding books to Bob if he gives a good answer. And eventually I'm going to start taking the books away.
There you go.
If he doesn't, did you ever see that episode of Third Rock from the Sun when he's sitting at the restaurant and he's doing the tips, and he puts a stack of money on the table, and he tells the waitress, says, depending on how good you are, there'll be more money added to this stack or less money. Mm-hmm. And she's like, here's your water. He puts another $1 on there, and she spills a little bit of water. He takes $1 off. I love it. It's so good. And he's like, oh, nope. It's such the girl sitting there with him. She's like, oh my God.
I love it.
It's such a good scene. I love it.
That's awesome.
But anyway, Bob, I want to say thank you for coming over and taking presents and reading comments and all that good stuff. I missed you last week. I was out of town and stuff, but I had a good time with my daughter. I just want to tell everyone that there's something very special. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag.
Not yet.
Not yet, but there's something very special that you guys are going to be aware of here in the very near future. And pretty exciting, So,
very exciting.
Very happy to eventually be able to share it. I don't even know for sure when we get to share it. But when we do, we're going to do it together. And it's going to be something really cool. So,
It's going to be awesome. I
very
can't wait.
cool. And very much so. I can't think of anything else. Bob, anything?
Nothing right now. We have this Thursday night.
Yes.
I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what I think
Something
it is.
like that, yeah.
But look for the monthly comic review where we go over the best comics of the month.
Yep.
This month it'll be on your channel, right?
That's right. And so please join us because it's people really love that. We have a great time. It's myself, Bob, Robbie, and Dylan. We just talk about the best comics that we read during the whole month. And that's really why we're not doing the Was It Good segment in this one, because we had a lot of stuff to do. We're just going to be doing it later this week, with Robbie and them and Robbie's pick of the week and all that stuff. So, but we always have a great time. I've been looking forward to hosting again. It's been 4 months since I got the host. I think it was December last time I hosted. And a lot of people turned out and watched it. People really enjoy it. So join us on Thursday night, and we'll talk about the best comics that we read during the whole month, and it's awesome time. It's one of our favorite shows to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love doing that every month. By the time this drops, I'm hoping to have a review video out, but I really have not been able to read my comics yet. That's how busy I've been. So when I get home, I know I'm going to be...
You got to read them by Thursday.
I know I do.
I got a stack as well. Anyway, I want to say thank you to everyone who left a question for us.
So.
Also want to say we do have some blowtorches available if you're interested in the variants. They're right behind me. They're what, $25?
I think that was what it was.
$25
for
the set, and it's like $6 shipping. And you can just email me, Buellercomics@gmail.com if you want to get one. And we are shipping out to Canada as well. I figured out Canada shipping is about $20. So if you want to pay that, you're more welcome to. But it's a lot of money. You ask me, I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it every time.
I'm glad we got back here to talk about some comics and stuff.
Come on.
And don't get your hand stuck in a turret.
I'm not going to. Be swinging around.
Although you do get a lot of sympathy from the ladies. Pity. Oh.
Pity.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Anyway, I'm older now. That was back in my 20s. Anything goes back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I think we covered everything. Appreciate your time. Bob, guess what, buddy?
What's that?
You want to take us out?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.